Have you ever really stopped to think about how the world around you gets built? I mean, that phone in your hand, the coffee on your desk, the car you drive, none of it just appears. Someone, somewhere, had an idea, and they turned that idea into a real thing that you could buy. That whole process, that incredible engine that powers our entire world, well, that's business. And today, we're going to break it all down. And this quote just nails it, right? Business is this powerful, non-stop cycle. It's what allows great ideas to become reality and then uses the success from those ideas to fund the next great idea. It's not magic, it's a system. And every single business, I don't care if it's a local food truck or a giant multinational corporation, runs on one beautifully simple formula. And this is it. This is the master key to understanding literally everything in business. Revenue is all the money that comes in the door. Costs are all the money that goes out the door. And profit, well, profit is the prize. It's what's left over. A business without profit is basically just an expensive hobby. So if you can understand this simple equation, you can understand any business on earth. Let's break it down. Okay, first up, let's talk about the fun part, revenue. We call this the top line. Now, this isn't profit, not yet. It's the total amount of cash a company pulls in from sales before any expenses are paid. So when you hear a company made billions of dollars last year, you're hearing their revenue number. So how do they actually make all that money? Well, it all comes down to their business model.
The first and probably the most familiar model is one you're a part of every single day. It's called business to consumer, or B2C. Pretty straightforward, right? This is when a company sells its stuff directly to people like you and me. I mean, think about it. You don't spend 6 months with a committee deciding whether or not to buy a latte. You see it, you want it, you buy it. That's a short sales cycle. And because of that, companies like Apple and Netflix have to be masters of marketing. They live and die by their brand because they have to convince millions of us to make those quick buying decisions over and over again.
But what about all the businesses that don't sell to you at all? What about the companies whose customers are other companies? Welcome to the huge world of B2B, or business to business.
Now, the big difference here is just the sheer scale of it all. You don't just add a new Boeing 787 to your online cart. We're talking about deals that can take months, sometimes even years, to negotiate. The price tags are massive, and the sales process is all about building deep, long-term relationships, not just running a catchy Super Bowl ad. It's a whole different ballgame.
And then there's the model that has completely transformed the modern economy, the subscription model. This is where, instead of a one-time purchase, you pay a recurring fee, monthly, yearly, for continuous access to something.
So what makes this model so powerful? It all comes down to one beautiful word: predictability. A company like Spotify can look at its user base and know, with a pretty high degree of certainty, how much money is going to come in next month. Just think about what that means. You can plan better, hire smarter, and invest with way more confidence. That kind of stability is an absolute game changer.
And if you need any proof of how dominant this is, well, here it is, growing 5 times faster than the 500 biggest companies in the US. That's just staggering. It shows you the incredible power of that predictable, recurring revenue. But, making money is only half the battle. Right, let's get to the second part of our formula. Revenue gets all the glory, but let me tell you, costs are what keeps CEOs up at night. This is where most businesses fail. You can be making billions in revenue, but if you're spending even more, you're still going down. Costs are every single dollar a business has to spend just to keep the lights on. Generally, costs break down into 2 main buckets. First, you've got your cost of goods sold, or COGS. These are the direct costs of making what you sell. So for a t-shirt company, it's the fabric and the ink. If you don't make a shirt, you don't have those costs. Then you have operating expenses, or OPEX. These are the bills you have to pay no matter what. Things like rent, salaries for your team, and marketing. You pay those even if you don't sell a single thing. So after you take all your revenue and you subtract all your costs, both COGS and OPEX, what you have left is your net profit. The percentage of revenue you actually get to keep is your net profit margin. And as you can see, it is wildly different depending on the industry. A software company might keep 20 cents of every dollar it makes, but a grocery store, they might only keep 3 cents. This number tells you everything about how efficient a business is. Okay, so you've got a killer product and you're keeping a close eye on your costs. You're all set, right? Well, not quite. Because if no one knows you exist, you're not going to have any revenue to begin with. This is where the magic of marketing and the hard work of operations come into play. A classic way to think about this is the 4 Ps. It's been around forever because it just works. First, what is your product? What problem does it solve? Second, what's the right price? Third, place. Where are people actually going to find and buy your product? And finally, promotion. How are you going to get the word out? Every single marketing plan in the world is just a different recipe using these 4 ingredients. But how do you actually know if your marketing is working? Well, you can't just go on feelings. It all comes down to some simple math. You have to know your customer acquisition cost, or CAC. Basically, how much money did you spend on ads and sales to get one new customer in the door? And then you have to know your lifetime value, or LTV. That's the total profit you expect to make from that one customer over their entire time with you. And this, right here, this is the golden rule. This is what separates the businesses that make it from the ones that don't. The lifetime value of your customer needs to be at least 3 times what it cost you to get them. So if you spend $100 to acquire a customer, that customer needs to generate at least $300 in profit for you over time. Get this ratio right, and you can grow. Get it wrong, and you're just burning cash. All right, enough with the theory. We've covered revenue, we've covered costs, we've covered marketing. Now let's see how it all comes together in the real world by looking at 2 of the absolute biggest players in the game. This is just fascinating. It shows you there's more than one way to win. Amazon brings in way more revenue than Apple, hundreds of billions more. But look at the profit. Apple keeps a massive 24% of its revenue as pure profit. Their whole strategy is built on high-margin, premium products. Amazon, on the other hand, only keeps about 5%. Why? Because their strategy is to take almost every dollar they make and pour it right back into the business to get bigger and bigger. 2 totally different playbooks, both leading to incredible success, and both built on that exact same formula: revenue minus costs equals profit. So you see, when you strip away all the jargon and the complexity, business isn't some kind of dark art. It's not magic. It's a system. It's a set of rules for creating value, managing money, and connecting with people. And now you know the rules. So the only question left is, what will you build?